Oh, welcome to Natasha Makes. Oh, hang on, lights aren't all on. Let me pop a pound of an electric, turn the lights on. There we go, that's better. Good morning to you all. I both love and hate whoever asked me to do a man bag / messenger bag. My goodness me, that has been my week's work. But it's done. It is done. It is here. And I had to tie up the strap because I made it me size and the mannequin is not me size. So this is the bag. Here it is. My goodness me, we've got poppers, we've got a pocket, we've got beautiful lining, we've got a nice back to it there so that that can flop open fully and you can fit all your stuff in there. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, this has been epic to get right. But I think we're there. So we have got, yeah, nice little poppers there. I'm going to have to remember how I did this so that we can do this today. Yeah, there we go. So this is what we're making. We just tie those handles off at the back so that you can actually see it. If I do it the sort of messenger bag length, you can't see it. But that's what it's looking like. Now, you can do it in Style Fix. I have done it in H640. You see, this will be taken up when you've got some space in it, when you've got your computer and whatnot in it. That gives that space there. So, my goodness me, it's been epic getting it to this point. These are not quick makes in terms of the design and everything else. So, and relax. But good morning, how are you? So what I'm really hoping is that you love it. Now, let's say a little good morning to everybody. This isn't just a man bag, by the way. This is a bag for anyone. It's just a great messenger bag with flaps all the way down. I made sure, by the way, that this at the front was at least wide enough to get your phone in and get it in nice and deeply with then a flap over the top. Okay, because I know we need to be able to get to things like that in a hurry and easily. So yeah, if I put that around the front there, you can see what it is we're making today. Alrighty then, shall we say good morning to everyone before we go any further? Without further ado, we turn the volume down. And the other thing is to mention, and when I say mention, I'm going to shout about this quite loudly. We have got brand new Juki machines. When I say brand new, they're brand new to us. They are ex-display, and so they have a massive discount on them. We'll talk about those in a minute. Steph's here, Erica's here, Joy's here. Good morning, good morning. That would make a good laptop bag too. That's kind of what it was designed for. So you can fit your A4 folders in, you can fit your laptop in. I've made sure it's big enough so you can fit your laptop and your A4 notebooks and stuff like that in there. So that's the design of it. Sylv, I think it's you that sent us a lovely, lovely, lovely email to do with Portugal, which just sounds amazing. Erica, can't wait to see today's show. Jimmy's here, Auntie Lizzie's here, and Rebecca's here. Morning, everyone. Ginny's here. Good morning to you all, the lovely people who make the world go round. Claire's here, and Claire Upton and Claire Angelina, all here. Sylv, don't say that. I'm so hungry. You with your Cumberland sausages are one of my favourites. Used to be one of my guilty things when I went, guilty pleasures when I went to Tesco, because they do the round ones, don't they? Anne's here. We are gathering people as we speak. So. What do we have today? Well, today we have brand new cork for you as well. Let me show you that, because this is exciting. We haven't had this before. Look at this. Really love this. Now I did my bag make in the small grain. I was going to demo in the large grain. I completely forgot that this had just come in, but has literally just come in. So I might make my make in this and give this a little test run. The beautiful thing about this is that it looks really chunky and it looks like it's not going to fold, but it does. I love this cork. I've got bundles for you today. If you go for one of the pre-made bundles, yeah, look. I was going to demo in the large grain. Sorry, went a bit wobbly with my cork. Hope it's still okay to use. Yeah, we'll be fine. This one's got a little bit more colour in it. This is brand new today. Oh, decisions. So these are the new bundles for you, and we've put them with the fine grain. If you want a different type of cork, just let us know and we will adjust that for you. So this is, I basically got Josh to go through the warehouse with me and tell me which fabrics, and the only reason that I'm calling this in any way a man bag is that you asked me for a man bag, which I've done. I know that we've missed Father's Day because it took me a bit longer to work out in my head how on earth to do it. Yeah, but we do have these options, and these were the two fabrics that Josh chose as would make really nice linings for a man bag. You can use any that you like. If you're making it for the ladies, then why not go for a bright, vibrant one? Why not go for something like this, which is one of your Tildas? Whatever you fancy, really. The ones that I think are really, really, really beautiful for this are the Alexandra Bardello, and this is Renewal Rhythms, and this is a 1/2 metre duo here. This is Dewdrop, again with the small grain cork. So that's your kit. You only need 1/2 metre for this. Also, what is going to look fab is this. I think this is like pumpkin or something, and it's one of the Rennie Nanamans. We've got a little bit left of it, and that together is going to look a bit woo. Now, if you are a lover of blues, then let me show you these. This is the lining that I've used, but just see how beautifully that goes with the cork. And this is the tiny stripe blue. These are the new wovens from Tilda, and they work beautifully as these bag linings. So that's tiny stripe. If you want a gingham, we've got the blue gingham. If you fancy a spot, there's the blue spot. I just think the blue works so gorgeously with the cork colour. I was going to use this one. This was my one of choice, which is your tiny dot. But of course you all went and bought that, didn't you? So I couldn't use it. Thanks. That is one of the actual Tilda ones. This one is your seam stripe in blue. Again, looking super swanky. What about the plaid in blue? Also very smart. Kind of matches men's shirts, a lot of these, which I think is really smart. And then we've also got the stripe in blue, slightly lighter there. But again, all of those I think just look really smart. Whoops, lost one off the edge of the counter. Look really smart with your cork. You could pick any one of those and they are just gonna look gorgeous. Just gonna look gorgeous. Oh yeah. Now. The other one actually that really caught my eye for this was the green stripe, which of course is right down the bottom, but equally pulling out your green stripe and your green plaid as well. with those corks, just looking rather phenomenal. So they are the ones that I would choose, that I would go for. Doesn't make them right or wrong. They're just my ones that I sort of looked at and went, oh yeah, if I were to make that, oh yeah, really did go a bit wobbly there. Oh well. That makes me laugh. I'll use that on another one. So there we go. Right. So let's have a look today. These are the bundles. I'm going to work with those two. And then, like I say, these were the ones that Josh chose, but I know that his favourite is pumpkin. So, because he just, sorry, so I'm going to make that for him today. Right. Okay. Before we do that, let's talk sewing machines. Okay, because Gary from Juki is coming either the 1st or 2nd week of July. In the meantime, we can have the machines up and selling. They are already going. We loaded them yesterday, didn't even tell anyone that we'd loaded them, and they started to sell, because you know that apart from Franklin's Juki themselves, we are the only other place in the UK that they trust to sell their X demo. Now that means it's been on a show, be a TV show or on a show stand. They've generally had less than an hour's sewing on them. They are then fully reserviced, boxed with the full guarantee, and away they go to you. But because they've been out of the box, they take a load off, and we are the only people. Now this came about several years ago now, because I do shows for them at Create and Craft, and I have been an advocate for Juki for years now. And because I just think they are such a good machine, and it had a few of our customers who went to sort of Create and Craft to buy their machines rather than buying from me, even though they'd seen the machine here with me, because Create and Craft do it on a payment plan. And I can't argue with that. I can't bring you a payment plan. There's not enough margin in it for me to do that. So, because Juki are a lovely company to deal with, they went, we're going to do something different for you then, Natasha. We understand this. We appreciate the work that you do with us. So we're going to do something special for you. And that is when they entrusted me. And it is a big trust thing to be, like I say, apart from themselves, the only other person in the country to sell the discounted Juki machines. Everybody else has to sell them out at the price that Juki set. That's how it is. But for these ones, like I said, they've been out of the box. And if they haven't been bought at the end of a show, then they come here to us. What does that mean that we have then? Let's have a look, shall we? I need to find my little thing with it on. Ba-ba-da-ba. Where is it? So we have got overlockers. We have got the MO 1000. We've got one of those, and that's got £300 off the price. I mean, these are big discounts, okay? The MO 2500, again, there's 300 off that price. Okay, so if you're looking to upgrade your overlocker, then that's the MO 2500. That will be my next overlocker. I'll tell you that now. That will be my next overlocker. DX 200 is the machine I keep in Cornwall. It's the same as the DX7, but it's the QVP edition, which means that it's just got a different selection of feet. It was a limited run, just in terms of it's exactly the same machine as the DX7, and they have no other DX7s in stock anywhere. Yes, they had no DX7s to give me at all, but the QVP, it just has a different colour on it. That's the only difference. All the mechanicals and everything else, it is fundamentally a DX7, which is this machine here. It's just got a different colourway on it, and it has a few additional feet with it, and you get that. Now that has got a cracking price on it. That is coming in at 1,595. Yeah, just amazing. The MCS 1800, I've got 2 of those. I think that's the cover stitch. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with Gemma on that one. That should be 995. You can take £150 off that price. Yeah, thank you very much. 845. So if you've been after a cover stitch, Gemma's like, I need a cover stitch. I need a cover watch. I've been watching Sewing Bee. They've used cover stitch. I need a cover stitch. If you need a cover stitch, here it is at a discount. Now, shout, yes, the MCS 1800 is the cover stitch machine. I haven't had a go on it, that's why I can never remember. If you need the cover stitch, you might have to fight Gemma for it. I've got 2. Yes, Gemma, we have about 3 meters. Right. What else? Sorry. She's like, can you just let me know how many meters of this we have? I'll witchy woo it, but it looks about 3 meters to me. What else do we have? TL2200. The TL2200 is the mini beast. That's my semi-industrial. And I absolutely love it. At one stage I had 2. And then I realised that was a little bit greedy and I sold 1. But I did have 2 at one stage and I just love them. I had the TL2200 and then I had the limited edition TL2020, which is the silver one. Again, that comes with slightly different feet. That was the one that I sold because I didn't need 2 once I came back up here more permanently. So, and I just had so many machines. I was like, this is ridiculous. So there is one of those. And guys, these are coming in at, so the special edition one is actually less than the normal one by 50 quid. So the TL2200 is coming in at £1,445. So you got a couple of, 250 quid off that. And then the TL2020, which is the silver one, 1,395. It's exactly the same machine, just different feet as the TL2200. They are the mini beasts. They are the semi-industrial ones. They only do a straight stitch, but my golly, do they do it well. That's it. That's it. And they are brilliant. Now, I've got one TL2300. Now, the TL2300, if it doesn't go, I will take it. I will have it. It's the next step up on the semi-industrial. So it's got a longer needle on it. So if you are bag making, if you do soft furnishings, if you do anything like that, this is the machine for you. Okay. And it also takes the larger cones for the thread. It also takes up to a 20 thickness in thread. Okay, so you're going to be able to run much thicker threads if you're doing bag making, if you want it to look like, like leather, all that kind of stuff. If you're doing, like I say, upholstery, this is the machine. I have one, and it's 1,595. There's £200 off this machine, and they very rarely come up. Same as the TLs, they very rarely come up. And it does have another plate that you can swap out if you just want to do straight stitch for finer fabrics like dressmaking and stuff like that. So you've got that duality with this machine. So you can do that much more heavy industrial stuff, but you can still do the light stuff. But I've only got one of those. The UX8 has gone. That's already gone. That's already been swiped and had. I don't blame you. And then I've got 2 of the MO654s, and they are coming in at £549. There's a nice saving on there of £126. Nice. Have a look on the website. All of the details are there. if you know, I'm just going to say this right, if you know the machine that you want, get it now, because these are going to be on sale until Gary comes. So if you know that one of these machines is the one that you want, and you're not in two minds about it at all, just get it now. If you don't know and you want to talk to Gary and you want to ask the questions, then fine, wait, but I can't guarantee these machines will still be here, okay? We do these shows maybe twice a year, that's it. And when they come and they go, like it's that quick, they come and they go, and that's it. So if you know the machine that you want, if you've got a machine that you've been hankering after and it's in that list that I just read you, they are the machines that I have got now. All right, there aren't going to be any more added, I don't think. There might be one, Gary said, but apart from that, no more, because again, if there haven't been any shows or anything like that, there's nothing else to add. Okay, so it's really important to know that, really important to know that. If you are on the fence, if you're just thinking, then that's fine. Wait until Gary comes here and ask the questions. But like I say, I cannot guarantee that machine is still going to be there, and you may end up having to pay the full price, which can be anywhere between, I mean, there was nearly £1,000 off that UX8. And that was the biggest discount out of all of them. So congratulations, you know who you are. I'm so excited for you. So that's where we're at with it all today. Let's have a look at, gosh, that all got a bit serious, didn't it? All got a bit serious, but it's exciting stuff. And I would highly recommend Juki to anybody that is thinking of getting a sewing machine for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they manufacture their own parts. Now, what does that mean? That means we'll keep those parts in stock always. There are other manufacturers that after 7 years or so, they discontinue the part. So if you've got a machine thinking that you've bought it for life as a lifelong machine, you then can't get any parts. And that is a problem. The other thing that means is when something like a pandemic hits and all the other suppliers are struggling to get the same quality replacement parts created and made, or just machines in general created and made, Juki maintain their standard because they make it themselves. It's not farmed out. It's not farmed out cheap to China or anything like that. They make it for themselves. Okay, that is really important. Really important. The other thing is their innovations. They don't put anything fussy on their machines that is not needed. It's just one more thing to break. So what they put on there is useful. It's really useful in a really sturdy metal machine. Not plastic parts, nothing's going to break or anything like that. It's sturdy and metal. I use these machines day in, day out. I've worked with all the other brands' machines on various shopping channels, you know I have over the years. Juki has always been my preferred choice, which is why I put my name behind it, and I absolutely support them 100%. And they've been great to me, and it just works. Absolutely just works. And I just love these machines. Just love them. Absolutely love them. So that's why I would stick always with the Juki. And you know that when they need servicing or anything like that, Franklin's do it in-house. Occasionally there's a bit of a queue because they're busy, but it doesn't matter. It comes back and it's done, and it's all good. So that's what we're going to do. Let's have a look now at Half Meter Heavens. We might add a few more in, but for now, as it stands, we've done you a little bit of a Tilda selection, but do have a good old rummage. But we know that Tilda can be quite difficult to team with normal planes, but we've done it for you to the best of our ability, and let's have a look. So with the crimson, and I've only got 5 of this, and then that's the end of the stock. Harper yellow with crimson. Just gorgeous. So picking up these little berries in here. That is your Harper yellow with crimson. These go live tonight, by the way, at midnight. So if you are after something maybe for one of Jane's Half Meter Heaven quilts, if you want it maybe to make one of the reversible round handle bags, Oh no, this is lovely. This is your Berry Tangle Prussian with silver mink. How stunning does that look? I really like that. That makes me very happy. This is nice. This is Grace Yellow with picked moss. We ummed and ahed with colours for this. We did. But actually, let's put it around the right way. Just to pick out those deeper greens in that detail, we felt gave this bundle a lot more depth. So I love that. I'm all about that. Happy with that one. This was the first one. It just flew off the shelf for me. Brie green with sage. Just gorgeous. This is one of your little ditsies. It's so, so pretty. It's one of Jane's favourites. Now, Ivory Yellow with bamboo. Now, this was a funny one to match, and we went through all the different colours, but actually I think we've got this one spot on. There is a little darker colour in here that is the stem of those flowers, and we've picked that with the bamboo. And it sits just between that mustardy gold and the stem colour. And I really like that. I really like that. So if you're a mustardy person, that is the one. Now, Frida Pearl. Again, I've only got 5 of these. Frida Pearl with azalea, picking out that pink. Look at this. Just picking out those pink bits there. Really beautiful. Again, I've only got 5 of these. This is your Evie in Dove White, and we've put that with duck egg. All about the duck there. The ducklings yesterday. Oh my goodness. I gave them some overripe watermelon yesterday. They were pink and sticky by the time that Josh came home. So the first thing he did was give them a bath, and then he towels them dry and he makes sure they're nice and warm. Yeah. Although these ones seem to be well ahead of where Dave was. Like they are already oiling themselves, which is quite phenomenal. Now, this is your Carla Pink with pink. So I've gone for a slightly lighter shade of pink, which just sits really, really beautifully with your Carla Pink. I love that design. And then your Lululemon, we have put with raspberry, actually. And again, that raspberry sits in between that darker red and that lighter pink there, which is the effect of sort of the two blended together. And I actually really love the raspberry next to that mustard colour. Gorgeous. And then this one, I'll have to look at the pricing for this one, because this is not one of our normal plains. This is with one of the Spectrum yellows, but my gosh, it was exactly that colour. It was exactly the colour in that Frida lime. So yeah, we're going to have to look at the pricing on that one. Might have to be a little bit dearer, but to be able to match that, I was really, really, really quite happy about that situation. Right, shall we have a go at this bag, shall we? Righty-ho. Let's get cutting. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 metre of everything. I even put a new blade in this morning. So let's start with a 1/2 metre of this and then see where we go from there. I know Gemma wants a quantity on what's left, so maybe Jane might want to come and give a definitive quantity on it. But I am going to say there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 units on there, Gemma. At least 8 units remaining. Oh, by the way, those Christmas fabrics yesterday, the Enchanted range, we've done them as a bundle with the panel or as a bundle, the 4 of those together, as requested. As requested. Yeah, so there we go. Right. So first thing that we are going to do is cut a strip for the gusset. Now, I get a bit nervous cutting gussets, so I want to show you a new way that I found to do them that just seemed to stop any errors, which was really lovely. So I'm just going to cut a strip for my gusset, and then I'm going to cut another strip. Ba, ba, ba. Got a bit more spare there. It is the Ready Animan, and this is very beautiful. Line that edge up there. In fact, I'm going to swing it around here, this way. You have got fabric left over, so if you want to pop a pocket or anything else in, then you absolutely can. Absolutely can. Ba, 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 ba. So from your lining fabric, you have got that left and a full width of fabric strip left. So there's plenty if you want to make a matching all-in-one card holder or anything like that, or you want to make a matching wallet or any of those sorts of things, then you have got that option there. Okay. Hello, Janio. There you go. Thank you, my love. Now, we are going to just have a little look at how long I need to cut this. I did just work it out. If I had that cut in two, how long would I need to cut that out? So just let me know, how are you with how are you with gussets? How do you normally find them? It's a funny old word, isn't it? It is a funny old word, but there it is. They're not everyone's favourite, which is why I've tried something slightly different. I'm quite excited to show you, actually. Now, let's just level up my cork. Okay. We are going to, with the cork, we're going to, first thing is cut 2 width of fabric strips. Okay. One at 2.5 inches and one at 2. Okay. So we're going to put that to one side, and then we will cut the other one. There. So we've got 2 strips there. And then the remaining I want to cut trim back here. So if you've never worked with cork before, you can see I'm not using anything different to how I would normally. Still using my rotary cutter and everything else, cutting off the selvage. So this is a sewable cork. It's a really, really fine strip of cork, which of course is the bark of the cork trees, and that is then what they do is they sort of shave it off. It dries out in the sun, and it's then backed onto fabric like the cotton that it's backed onto acts like a carrier sheet. And that is what we are going to use here today. So let me just make sure I've got all of that nicely lined up. So this is going to be, I'm now cutting my 2 outers. All of your measurements are in your instructions. Okay, so there are my 2 outer pieces there. And then, I'm going to cut one slightly wider. I'm going to cut it into a square. Now, if you see the pocket here, I've done it quite deep. If you want to make this entirely out of just 1/2 metre of cork, you're going to have to make that pocket slightly less deep, okay? And that's just because of the size of this. When I initially made it, I'd made the flaps smaller and it didn't work. So in the revised amount, but if you want to, I mean, we're talking, you can still get, the important thing for me is that we can still get a phone in there. That's always been the really, really important thing for me. So as long as we can get a phone in there, the depth of it is less important to me than the width. The width I'm going to keep. So that is where I'm at with that. So from this leftover piece of cork here, I'm going to cut my pocket. All right. Let me just check. I have to try and remember all these sizes. Yeah, it is that wide. And the difference is just over 1 inch in depth, that's it. So it's not a biggie. So they are all the constituent parts cut. That's all our cutting done. Or is it? No, it's not. So this is our handle. The smaller one is the handle. And then we have got, this is your gusset strip. So the wider one was the gusset strip. So let's cut that one. And then from what you have left over, you are then going to cut 2 more pieces. And again, so you just carry on cutting. We're going to make them slightly narrower. And that's, so in the design, that's just to make sure in taking that little extra bit off, it does 2 things. It means that the accessories that you can now get to go with it are in line with the most readily available, which is 1 inch. Somewhere I put on the set, and there's a lot going on the set today. Somewhere on the set I put a set of hardware. What have I done with that? Otherwise, there's a spare one on Jane's desk, but if she could bring it in, I've got part of it here, ready to go. But hardware-wise, I'm sure she'll bring in the full set in a minute. You are going to need, let's have a look. Hello, Jane. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've just got to borrow some magnetic clasps out of here. So yours will come with, it's going to come with the adjuster slider. So if you want to, if you're making this for somebody else and you want to just, if you want to adjust the strap, you can pop the adjuster slider in. So they come with that. They come with, but that's kind of optional. 2 D-rings, 2 swivel clips, 2 magnetic clasps. So it's the magnetic clasps I need to nick out of that one and replace because I didn't have enough. So that's what you're going to need. So that's optional, but the swivel clips and the D-rings, you do need those. I've got 10 sets of these, that's it. Can get more if needed, but I have to buy them in bulk. So I think with the antique brass, it's gonna look a treat, let me tell you. So to start off with, let's draw a line down the middle of our tabs. Okay, if I've got those D-rings out, let's do that. You are going to need some quarters wash away tape, you know it. It has, I've just, for those of you that are waiting on an order for quilters wash away tape, I import it. It's the only one that I like. And it's just clearing customs as we speak. We had a bit of a run on it, as we often do, generally when I go and Crate and Craft, because I don't stock it there. I sell it to you at such a small markup, there's nothing in it for me to take to Crate and Craft. So it doesn't really go on there. Okay, so why do we do this? We do this so that we can then peel back that tape and we can base this. So if we are starting to work with cork, then the quilter's wash away tape is your friend, because it means you don't have to use multiple clips, pins, needles, anything like that. It's very, very easy just to hold it so that you can get it to your machine to then make. So we're going to do the tabs first, then we'll do the handle, and then we can start to make the make. Okay, so we're just going to stitch down both sides there. I am going to change my needle before I start, because this needle has done quite a lot now. Now, what sizes have I got? I've got 90s and I've got 80s. They are not the needles that I want. I replaced my rotary cuts today as well. That was a revelation. You know, and it just takes you ages to actually do the thing. I should have done the thing ages ago. I really should have just done the thing ages ago. And that would have been far more useful. Oh, look, I've got another thing of wash away tape. Might take that out later. Goodo, have I got any of my other, or are they in another county? They might be in another county. In which case we'll just go. I like to go, when I can, with a slightly smaller size needle. So I would go, does it make a massive difference? No. Am I being pernickety? Possibly, just a little bit. And you see, this is how normally non-pernickety I am about it, is that I generally can't tell the difference. But, just occasionally, I do like to just work with a slightly narrower needle. However, that does not appear to be today. But I am starting a new project, so that will go in my sharps box. Get rid of that and start with a fresh new one. It's good practice. It is good practice. So if you've got an 80, go with that. Failing that, a 90 will do. They are the two sizes that I use. And like I say, so interchangeably, I don't even generally notice. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we are set up and ready to go. Pop those all back in there. And then we can just top stitch down. So the questions that I get asked a lot are, if I'm working with cork, do I need to do anything different in terms of needle size? I think we'll just cover that one off. You can use either. I'm just going to see if I've got better coloured thread. Do I need to do, no, you don't. Do I need to, what's the other question that I get asked? Yeah, change my needle, stitch, anything like that. And again, I'm going to say, you might just want to work with a longer stitch length at times. That's it really. I'm going to start with a fresh bobbin as well, because there is not a huge amount left on that one. And I found a colour that's going to work beautifully. So let's swap over. So then we've got everything prepped and ready to go, which is a beautiful thing. Really beautiful thing. So let's load up our bobbin and be ready to go. So yeah, there's no need for changing really anything other than just elongating your stitch length. But then you would do that anyway if you were working with Styleville Fix or anything like that. Right, a note on Styleville Fix, by the way. If you want a firmer bag, or if you know that you're going to be predominantly putting a laptop in there, you can use Styleville Fix. Just leave a much wider turning through gap. But you can. You absolutely can. I love this colour. It's so rich. If you want this colour, I think it is in, look at us, gosh, we've changed this set around so much. Whee! It is in with the brights. We've got a couple of the brights left of the Orifils. If you want to grab a box of the Orifils. I know again, that's another considered purchase. We are still looking, we're working with our supplier to see how we can make this subscription work. That's the dream, is to do that. But they've got to look at their pricings. That's all I can say at the moment. Right, let's get ourselves all done here. Now, what I would say is keep one of your pieces of scrap cork to hand. So I'm just going to increase my stitch length to like a 2.6. And I'm always going to use that where possible just to take up the slack. Okay. And that is to try try and avoid that happening. But to be honest, this is going to have your D-rings on there. So if you do have where you start off a bit of thread caught, must have had a really long piece from where I just started, then just put that on the bottom. It's not a problem. Okay, so let's look at how that's going to look. So you can trim off any excess there. If you want to hold this again, baste it in place, pop a bit, oh that's the old one, isn't it? Pop a little bit of tape just to baste that in place. And the same here. You can put it either way, cross or not. Kind of looks like camo cork, this. I really like it. Okay. Oops. Now, this is your gusset. Let me just measure how far down I actually took that, because I can't remember. We're going to measure 3 down and then place that there. You can centralise that, place it there. Now again, a little bit of tape is going to hold that in place, okay? Pop it centrally there. And you're going to sew as close as you can to the top there and then across. I like to do a little cross through it as well. But again, you don't have to. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to make sure, yeah. Where has my thread gone? Come back, thread. And where possible, I'm following my stitch line. Try and take it up as close as you can to your... Do you think you're spinning this all around out the way? And then making that cross just reinforces, because this is the main stressor on your bag. So the box and then an X through it. What path you take to get that, to do that, is entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. And then we're going to do the same here. Measure down. Pop a little bit of tape just to hold it. And where possible, I tend to put the tape where I'm not going to sew. Now, I'm really careful about what tape I use. And I found this doesn't gunk my needles, but with the best will in the world, it is still an adhesive near your needle. So if you can find a way to avoid putting that near your needle, then we're always going to do that. That's just common sense. if you are worried in any way, then you can just mark this. I eyeball it, but again, you don't have to. You can absolutely mark this. And then it is on, and it is done. Apart from, I've forgotten to sew down one side. I'm chatting too much. You can see, if in doubt, you can just look on the underneath. There was one long side that I didn't. There we go. Whoop. So we have now our gusset already with our strappy bits, D-rings applied there. Now let's have a look at these straps. I'm going to chop off the selvage edge. Now, when I looked at the length for my straps, I did mine against a rather large rugby player, and he was happy with where the length went. You can adjust the length on this. If you're giving it to someone and you don't know what length it is, then use the adjuster when you're making it, and do the strap, you know, with the ability to be adjusted, and that helps. In which case, just use the full length. And you're going to, at some point, tuck it under anyway, so it doesn't matter if you go right up to the selvage, because you can tuck it under and it's not, just, you know, snip off the very ends, and then it's not really a problem. What I'm doing is marking down that centre line again, just as my guide for the tape. It just makes it a lot easier just to do that strap. So yeah, you do use a little bit of tape on this, but it is, trust me, so much easier to do it this way than any other. So a little bit of tape over the top here. This is not a quick make, guys. Down we go. Just checking in on Gemma. I thought that message was for me, but it's not. So down we go. And whilst you're at it, you may as well put the tape down the other side. There we go. So again, although this isn't like the easiest, I think next week we'll do a quick easy make, aren't we? This isn't, I say this isn't a quick make, but in the scheme of things, you will still get it made in a morning. You know, if you've got someone whose birthday it is and you want to get this made, you are still going to have this made in a morning. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Just realised I've put my bobbin in the wrong way. Right, so let's take one line off. I'm just going to do one side at a time. And adhere it down onto that line. When I made my sample handles, I will be completely and honestly completely and utterly honest with you, I only taped down one side thinking, oh, I'll just save myself some tape. But it didn't save me time. And then I had to just keep stopping and readjusting and stopping and readjusting. Whereas if I'd actually just taped it down, it just wouldn't have been a problem. So this is the first time that I've used this particular cork. And I have to say, I really like it. But I am just going to sew down just to base that in place. If you want to increase your stitch line, then do. If you want to use a little bit of scrap first, then whoops, do. So this is just such an easy way then to make the straps, handles, whatever you want to call it. And you can see the machine doesn't struggle with the cork at all. I've got my stitch length at between 2.6, 2.8, something like that. And that's just because cork is slightly thicker to use. That's all. And you can see it's stitching it really nicely. There's no problems there at all. So let's now just attach the other, and you just want to abut the cork then to that centre bit. So actually it's kind of easier when you do the second bit because you just push it right up against that edge. And down we go. Gosh, the girls are getting ahead. I can hear messages pinging through for Monday's show. We do try and be organised wherever we can, but those fabrics are already in for next week. So it's quite exciting. Are you all right down there, big dog? Poor Ruben is still feeling slightly sorry for himself, having had a slightly personal operation on Monday. But you had to, Ruben, you were a rescue. You know the deal. If you have a rescue, they cannot be allowed to keep certain bodily parts. He's getting up and having a little stretch. So yeah, he's now sporting the slightly unkind nickname of Sad Sack. Poor boy, you look so sorry for yourself, don't you? So then, all we're going to do now is just, as we did before, just sew onto that. Ooh. Spare piece. What is knocking? It's just started knocking. That doesn't sound quite right. Do please listen to your machine. If you have a little knocking sound, you go, oh, that does not sound as it did before. Rethread it, do whatever you need to do. And if you need to, if it still does it, you need to have a look at, have I bent the needle in any way? Done anything? Just double check. There we go. And we're Is it Jane's Zoom workshop on Monday? Yes, it is. That was the agreed date. I'm going to see if I can pre-record a little something for everybody else, because there was muchos upset when we did the other workshop, and there was nothing on Facebook for everybody. Even though everyone is invited to join Jane's Zoom workshop, it's not an elite thing. There is a slight cost because there's a cost for us. So we do just, and also because you get Jane on tap. But yes, that will be Monday. So that will be, the first one that we did was the very, very basics, and that is up on the membership area for those of you that have subscribed to Jane's Quilt As You Go, where we just looked at what you're actually going to need. What do you need when you start quilting, and how do you use it? So we really have started grassroots with this right at the very beginning. And so this week we actually start to do the first block. Well, we will do the entire first block. So yeah, that's how that one goes. But you are very, very welcome to join. If you go to natashamcdesigns.com, then you can sign up for either my workshops or Jane's there, and you can join us. You get sent a Zoom link either the night before or on the morning. So just keep an eye in your emails, because you will obviously be sent it in advance. So that is the key there. Now then. Just need to remember how much I rolled that over by. So we've got oh, Reuben, making a horrible noise. Let's get these. Reuben, can you stop licking that? Wait, stop licking. Yeah, I know, I am super mean. Here we go. Here are, Reuben, wait, stop licking. Oh, he's not happy with me. If you could see the look I just got. So again, I'm going to run a little bit of tape down here on both ends. This is on the side that has got the seam. And we're going to fold these over by 1.5 inches. Yeah, I'm just measuring that off on my desk. So by 1.5 inches. Pop your swivel clip in. Get back into bed, Reuben. For those of you that don't watch very often, or maybe this is your first time watching, Reuben is my Great Dane. He is a rescue. He's very lovely. But he suffers with separation anxiety, so he can't be anywhere other than with me during a show. We have discovered this, and if Josh isn't here, then he has to come in and be a studio hound. So again, folding that. And popping that on there. So that's our ends to our straps. You can adjust this to whatever length you like. Please do that before committing to this. And I'm just going to sew around exactly as I did to put these into place. That you can see there's a square and then a cross through it. So we're going to do exactly that with this. Right, occasionally, if you hit a little bit of tape wrong, it might just catch your thread and just cause it to just fray. Or maybe it's just an edge. Let's just rethread that. I'll just say that across there. Right, and so you can trim, spend your time just trimming off any excess threads that you've got there. That's got quite a few from starting and stopping, but we can trim that back and make that look smart, no problem. And then let's do the other side. Right, I'm just going to point something out here. You can see here, these are our normal quarters wash away tapes. This is another brand that I had tried. That's why it's in my other bag, because this is an old one. Now you would never normally see me stop, but can you see up on this needle there is a bit of gunking to my needle? That is from using that different tape, which is quite a lot of fluff up there as well. So this is just to point out there is a reason that I get, give my machine a quick clean there. There is, that's the H640. There's a reason that I use the tape that I use, and it's so that it doesn't do this. Because in a minute I might actually just change my needle again, because it feels, I can feel it, it's ever so slightly sticky. And like I say, that is from using this other brand of tape. And I'll be honest, I bought this one off Amazon ages ago. I know, because the size of it is different, and our ones now come with a much smaller round. So just be aware, there's, again, you know, I test these products for us to make sure that we get the best. So I'm just going to stop my needle, because if you're working with a slightly gunky needle, things are going to catch, and it's just not going to give you that optimum performance that we're looking for. I might have changed this too soon, given that I've got another one to do. But hey, we'll see how we go. But I will always be honest with you, and if there's something that I can see has caused something to happen, then I will always point it out. And yeah, I hadn't made the connection, so that was why that was still languishing in my bag unused. Again, if you want this super, super, super neat, and you don't have time constraints, then you're going to draw that on and make sure that you follow it absolutely to the letter. But that now is our handle done, and we can pop that to one way and we can start to construct. And what is that going to look like? Right, so I'm going to use H640, okay. For the simple reason that I know it works. Starville Fix will give a much firmer finish. I'm going to cut it down to 1/2 inch smaller than my outer fabric. No, hang on. What if I just... Oh, bear with me, I've just been quite ridiculous. There we go, that's the length I need. Wrong way, wrong way. Might have to just... blend a couple together. It's not going to be the end of the world. Right, now, let's talk about adhering Starville Fix or H640 onto the back of cork. Go with caution because obviously this has already had a glue, it has already had an adhesive treatment to it. So I tend to hover, give it a little jet of steam. I'm not pressing down on my H640 because I don't want to flatten it like a pancake, but I am just sending a little bit of steam through there just to start to activate that glue. Okay. Now then I can, and that's starting to work, I can then flip it and what have I done with it? Here we go. I use a Teflon pressing sheet to then go in and apply a little bit of heat. Please, please, please go gently with this. Don't over egg it or anything like that. And you will actually, you'll smell the cork. If you don't fancy doing this, cut your H640 to the same size and just sew baste in place. Okay, there are always options available to us. But I would just go in sort of with a little bit of caution. And again, so it is slightly different, but I'm not pressing down. And actually the steam just sort of passes straight through the cork, weirdly. But if you apply steam through your Teflon sheet, it's not going to do any good. But it can all be done. And that's it pretty much on. Let's do this other one here. Habit, sorry. But yeah, if you are worried in any way, just sew baste, cut it to the same size and just sew baste it in place. Okay. Now, on the bottom corners of both of these, I'm going to draw something, okay? I'm going to get one of my little rulers, littler, smaller, and I'm going to draw a 1/4 inch square. And this is going to be how we're going to get this gusset in. Oh gosh, that's not even cut straight. Let's cut that straight, shall we? And here's what we're going to do. We're going to get our gusset. Going to line it up at the top. I am going to recommend that when you do this, and this is what I did, I'm not going to do this now because I don't really feel like I've got time because this is quite a long demo as it is. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is elongate your stitch. Go with like 3.5, something like that. Okay, so it's sort of like a basting stitch length. All right. And we're going to stitch down to that 1/4 inch mark. All right, so we are right sides together, sewing 1/4 inch down to that 1/4 inch mark. Let's do that. Okay, then I need to just sew that straight. I just got my D-ring just facing the wrong way there. Okay, so we've got a straight line now going along there. I'm going to flip this around now, and again clip it on the other side. Because I hate gussets, okay, and they always seem to go wrong for me. I might be able to sew this particular gusset in absolutely perfectly, but when I come to do it the other side, it's going to go wrong. And then I thought, well, why don't I do it like this? This means that every time I am absolutely level at the top, because that's the bit that gets affected if you go wrong. If in any way, shape or form, maybe your seam allowance is slightly out or whatever happens, where will be affected will be this top. And the end that you are aiming for will either be too long or too short. Now, if it's too long by a bit, it's not the end of the world, but these aren't then level, so that's a pain. But it's just, yeah. This is just, I suddenly thought, why do we not just do it this way? So, I'm going to flip it. We're going to start sewing from that 1/4 inch line all the way up, okay? Now, if you are a gusset queen, wow, that sounds wrong. But you know what I mean. Then, and your gussets are second to none, well done you, and you can absolutely sew it in a wanna. If you are starting out your bag making journey and gussets have been something that have let you down before, fear not, I've got you. I would like to call it my gusset hack, but I now realise that sounds really dodgy. So now what you can do is at this point, from the end, you can snip in up to that marker, and here you can snip in from the edge, sort of on a 45-degree line. What that does is that then allows this to then twist and turn and then lie flat. Okay. And what you can then do is then sew from that 1/4 inch mark all the way along to your other 1/4 inch mark, and it all fits beautifully. So I'm not gonna apologise for giving you a gusset hack, as painful as that sounds. And we're going to do exactly the same the other end. But perfect gusset insertion depends on your seam allowance being absolutely correct throughout. And with the best will in the world, if you are just starting out, sometimes it wobbles. Sometimes it is not absolute because, you know, maybe your D-ring got in the way and you wobbled a little bit. Whatever it is, and that will affect how that is going to sit. So this way, we get to avoid any of that. And what you have is from the outside, the gusset has gone in perfectly. So we're going to repeat that on the other side now. Okay, so right sides together, and I would clip these in place, absolutely. Let's set ourselves up for the most amount of success. And the reason that I would use a longer stitch to start off with is because I would then come back in, and I would then, when I'm happy with it, and I'm happy that I've got it where I want it to be, I would then come around and sew it on my normal one. So you're kind of basting it in place. You don't want it too long because otherwise you're not going to necessarily reach that 1/4 of an inch spot on. And so this is pliable now. You can get this straight line down to here. You're not battling with it. And for me, it just makes a bit more sense. So again, making sure that those edges are level at the end. And you can do this with the lining as well. The lining is less important to be absolutely accurate with, for the simple reason that if it's too long, you can just sew a little bit off. But you can't, if you do that with this gusset, then that throws out the accuracy and level of your handles, of your handle placement. The tabs for the handles. So this was a little workaround for you. And again, if you need to, just snip in, just to get that Corkscrew turn on that corner, then you can. But otherwise, there it is. Now, if you want to mark your centre points or anything like that and match those up, you can do that too. Entirely up to you. But now, I'm just good just to sew down there. Oh, I forgot to put my pocket in. No. Well, that's annoying. That's very annoying. You want to put the pocket on? Has anyone been screaming, pocket, pocket, pocket? before you sew this last side, you would sew the pocket onto the front. Don't know if there's a way to do that now. Not easily. But for the pocket, sorry. That's going to throw my measurements later, isn't it? Ah! Okay, so anyway, tape along there, along the back, fold that over, stitch it down, and then I would just baste that in place. That will be on yours, and you'll get the markers for that on there as to how far up that would need to come on your pocket. So do put the pocket on, because it does make life a lot easier. So we're going to turn it through now. Oh, I've annoyed myself there. Now, I wonder if we can sew that on. No, what I'll do is I will place it where it needs to be, because you will sew this on before you do that pocket, okay? But what I will just do is place it in the correct place, because from there you're going to get your marker as to where to then place your whatchamacallit? What's the word I want? What's the word I want? What is the word I want? Where to place your... Oh gosh, what's it called? Magnetic clasps. This is not difficult, however. Right, so you'll just sew that seam across there. I did baste these in place. If I can use this, just use up the last of this if I'm not actually going to sew with it. That's fine, but we'll have it as that marker. And the measurements as to how far in you want it are again in your pattern. So I want that. Placed on there. So you, I mean, I just measured it off. I measured it out from my corners, from my sides rather, and up from the bottom. And as long as I've measured it all right, then that is going to sit centrally there. And then you'd sew down there and along there. Sylvia's also yelling poppers. I'm doing that now. I'm doing that now. Yes, yes, yes. This is what we're doing. And that's when I realised that I'd forgotten to put the pockets on, because they are where I then measure this out from. Okay. So let me just see if I can. Do you reckon we can? I don't know. This might be really, really ugly. In another world, I would have just unpicked, but I'm already aware that this is quite a long make. What I might be able to do is at least, can I get that in? Yeah. Sylvia's yelling poppers. Poppers! Thanks, Sylv. So you'd do this before you sewed this all together. I'll sew the bottom on, I can hand stitch the sides on later. Oh, a lesson in how not to do it. Honestly, if I tell you this morning has been stressful, you wouldn't, it's been beyond stressful this morning. I mean, we can give it a go, sewing this in situ. It would not be my preferred method. You do risk bending a needle. However, needs must and all that. Hey look, we're all human, aren't we, at the end of the day? And sometimes we make mistakes. Tell you what though, kudos to that tape, it's held. It has held. It has basted and held it in place. Which for a, you know, a non-permanent thing is quite impressive. Like I say, yeah, this is much easier if you do it before you sew on the bag front. Moving everything out the way. By Jove, only gone and done it. Right, so you will put your pocket on properly. Right. And now we're going to add the hardware, okay? Actually, for a bodge, that's okay. So we're now going to measure out. Gemma even started to ring me. In line with here, we're going to measure out from that end 1 inch, and from here 1 inch. Okay, now what that means is that inch, that marker there, we're going to use that as the centre bit of, has that one not been properly, oh there we go. Mark it and do the same over here. So centre, the middle of your, I call them keepers. I don't know if that's the right terminology for them, but it works. Works here for me. Now, on those little lines that you just drew, just slice into them. Okay. And I would put the female one on here just because it's the thicker one. Get those prongs through. I tend to then press them outwards. So that's what I'm busily doing in there. And the same on this one. I do like this brass hardware though. And there we go. We're there. That's the start of your outer. Now, with our flap, if you've got an orientation that you want the cork to go in, then great, doesn't really make much odds. Along the top, we're going to run a little line of tape. And fold that over. What this means is that later we're not fighting with it, trying to turn a seam allowance under or anything else. Okay. And this will run along the top edge. Now, if you can see, this one isn't quite as sticky as the other one. It could be that this one's been sat in the car or whatever. If you need that extra stick, all you're going to do is just apply a little bit of heat. Okay? And that gives it just that little bit of extra stick. Okay? Obviously you need to give it a little bit of time to actually get through the cork. But if you're not bothered and you're happy to just press it down later, then don't worry about it. But it's just something to bear in mind. These, or just give it a little bit of, these travel, when they get cold at any point, they lose a little bit of their tack, and that can just be reactivated with a little bit of warmth there. Now, we're going to go right sides together here, and I would clip along the top so that that is the bit that you've got in line. Okay, and then what we're going to do is sew around these three sides. Okay, sorry, can you hear Ruben snoring? He's in such a deep, deep puppy sleep. He's such a big baby. And he is snoring so badly. So we're going to sew around three sides here. If you want to curve the flap, have a different shaped flap, then do. It's entirely up to you. And the next thing that you want to do is just trim away. Just check you've caught both sides. Trim away any excess on those corners. And also, if you want to, from that edge up there. And then we'll turn through. And before we put the poppers on, before we put those magnetic clasps on, we are going to top stitch all the way around, just because the poppers come quite close to the edge, and I don't want your foot to not be able to get round. Okay, so there is a reason for it, before anyone starts getting upset and going, quick, 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 don't forget to do that. This is the reason why. Okay. And so really getting into those corners and just making sure that those seams are as pushed out as you can make them. Now if you want to clip them so they stay there, they don't ping back, then great. I'm going to top stitch around. And again, I'm using a contrast thread. If you are not confident with your top stitching, totally get it, it's not a problem. Then all I would say to you, just getting my hand, by the way, just to get that seam right up against the edge there. All I would say, if you're not entirely confident with your top stitching, is just use a really neutral thread so that it just doesn't show. And that's problem averted. But you do want to top stitch this down. It gives the flap, just holds the flap sort of better together. Okay, so we're going to top stitch now around there. Again, if you want to elongate that stitch length, if you want to start off, again, taking up the slack on another piece of cork, then do. Just making sure, of course, this is the one side I ran out of clips for. Okay, so top stitch around there, and decide which side you want to have as the front of your flap. Now, let's have a look, because on the back, so if I want that as the front, then on the back here, I'm going to have to measure in here for my flaps, because what we've got going on here is this is what's going to happen, and then this is going to go over the back and get sewn down. Okay, so we just need to make sure how we do this. So generally I'm going to do it 1 inch up from the bottom, and then I'm going to measure in 1 1/4, then I'm going to measure across 11 inches. Now it happens that yes, I have sewn, I have stuck to my seam allowance, so we are all good. And that are 1 1/4 inches from that edge. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to get the keepers, washers, whatever you want to call them. We're going to mark them. And we're going to cut through just one layer of the cork. We don't want this going any further. So very carefully, just slice there. And there. Okay. And then you can insert the other side of your magnetic clasp from there. Where is my other washer? What have I done with it? So just trying to do this, I don't know if you can see. Just again, making sure that you push those edges out to the side. And if you can't manage, if you have any sort of dexterity issue, you can always go in with a coin or something like that and just help you, or if it just hurts your fingers, just go in with a coin or something to then just help you push that down and away. So that's one in. What have I done with my other washer? Where is it? Is anyone shouting at me to say, it's behind you? Or anything like that? Oh no, here it is. It's on my teacup. It's on my teacup stand. There it is. Reuben, stop licking. Rue, wait. No licking. At the vets, they showed me the cone of shame that they had for him, and they went, you're not going to want to use this, are you? And I said, well, I think he's going to get stuck in every doorway. So we only ever have one of these because we never use it. We never give them away. So we've had to try pyjama bottoms on him to stop him from licking himself, all sorts. There we go. We've got those in. And you can double check that they are exactly where you need them to be. There we go. We're in. Okay. So this is now the front of your bag. We're going to swing this around, and this is now going to sit and go at the back here. Okay. Now, we're going to measure down. How far did I measure down? I can't remember. I can't remember. Oh, hang on. I'll have it on a photo. This is the trouble. If I don't write this down immediately, if not sooner, and you know what I will have done? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I did. Thank you, earlier me. 2.5 inches down from the top with a removable pen. Mark yourself a line across. You can always pop yourself a line on there just to baste everything in place. You can depupper. Take this off and just centrally align it. There. And you can see now why we turned those seams under now. All we're going to do is do 2 lines of top stitching. I would start off slightly further away, and then once that's in place, then come in and do it on there. And if you want to, just take off the edge of your machine from now on. does kind of make it a little bit easier. And the other thing is, roll this out of your way. And then you can just slide it under. And there we go. And again, you can elongate that stitch length. Now when you start by sewing sort of the second line of stitching in, you aren't, hang on, my thread's just snapped. You aren't going through lots and lots of layers at that point. Let's back up. Where do we get to? There. The other thing is with this is, I know I'm rushing it, but don't. Things like thread snapping only start to happen when you start to rush. With this. And you can, if you can see it, I'm pulling the bag round to try and give myself a straighter path, because then you don't have to, so if I pull this round so that I've got a nice straight line to come at, then you're not fighting your machine, you're not battling with it to get it to go straight. And that's not an easy view, is it, for anyone? Let's do it from the front. So then all we'll do is we will come back. You're going to have a few threads to snip off, but at least it's fewer than you would if you were quilting. There's far more threads there. So again, you want to get this so that it's a nice straight line. So just manoeuvring that back. And this time, you can sew it a little bit closer. I tend to just keep the edge of my foot just aligned. With the line of stitching I've just sewn. And along we go. And that first line of stitching almost acts like a line of basting for you. There we go. So yes, we will snip away any excess threads. But then that is the front of your bag done. That is your bag outer all done. Okay. There and there. And we do even have a little pocket. Is that going to fit a phone? Yes, that will safely still fit a phone. So, which was all I really wanted it for, so that's absolutely fine. All right, so now it's just the lining to do, really. That's all we have got. There we go. That's all we've got left to do is just the lining. And the lining we're going to do in exactly the same way as we did the other gusset. marking up from each bottom corner. I mean, you might find you just want to do the gusset in one, because it doesn't, if you slightly out at all, it doesn't matter at the top. But it is just a little hack for you, if it helps. Okay, let's stitch that down. The other thing is if you do want to sew it just in one, then you can use that marker as your turning point. What do I mean by that? Let me show you. Sometimes it's difficult to eyeball those turning points. So if you do want to do this all in one, then on that 1/4 of an inch mark, you will then turn to go through down to the front. Realign and then sew down. Now it's much easier to do with cotton. But again, I'm not yanking or pulling anything, because you don't want to stretch either of the fabrics. So again, up to that 1/4 of an inch marker, and then turning that through the other way. So if you do want to do your gusset in one, this is how you would do it. But otherwise, do you know what? It is a good job I did this, because I've cut this gusset too long. So yes, I will have to trim that back anyway. That's the other thing. Make sure you do actually cut your fabrics the correct size. That also helps. So let's then pop this one on. On this one, what we're going to do is leave a turning through gap, quite a large turning through gap in that bottom edge. Okay. So down we come. Realign. Leave a big turning through gap. Flip that under and then sew up this top edge here. So we've got a turning through gap, but everything else is sewn in, okay? So now we're going to turn that through the right way. We're going to turn this around the wrong way. Yeah. Okay. Roll this down and tuck it in. You've got the clearance in there to just roll it and tuck it well out of the way. And then we're going to put our lining in. Okay, so we're right sides together. Now you can clip these at the gusset if you want. But this is it, this is the last of it. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but right, and again I would baste this first. Okay. Go in with a long stitch line, baste it first, because then you can get that really good seam length when you go at it again. Again, this is another reason for not using two pieces. Cut one the correct size. It's not the end of the world, no one's going to see it, but it's just slightly annoying. Okay. Check that everything is looking right with your lining. You've got it all sort of the right length and whatnot. And then really, which way round you choose to do this is up to you. If you want to go from the cork side first or the lining side, do it that way and then just keep turning, turning, turning. It's up to you. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. I tended to start, and I sewed from both sides, I'll be completely honest. I basted one way and then sewed from the other, and then that just meant that I knew I'd caught everything. I had clips. Where did my clips go? Okay. So yeah, whichever way around you choose to sew it is going to be the thing. So yeah, today's learning would be, if things go wrong, take the time to stop. Cut your interfacing properly. Actually take that time. If you want to work with a slightly larger seam allowance, then do. It's up to you. We're going to go in. And just slow and steady really with this. Don't forget you've got all that lid rolled up in there, so it's not going to be as malleable as you might want it to be to go underneath your machine. So you might have to do it from this way. That's okay. Like I say, I sewed it both ways with it sliding through the shirt bit and then like this. But you can just keep then opening it out. So yeah, I would really recommend when you do this to sew this twice. We don't have time to do that today, but I really would. But just gently, little bit at a time. Round you go. So if you want to go around again, and I probably will, I would do it this time from the cork side. And just make sure, so first time act as a basting stitch, and then when you go around again, just being ever so careful to make sure that you are really accurate with that stitch. Now, like I say, you can use Starville if you want, but just bear in mind you are adding a lot of bulk. My recommendation is H640 for this bag. Okay, that is my recommendation. But if you're really desperate to have that really stiff, then you can. But like I say, my recommendation here is very much H640. So just bear in mind, under here you've got all your bag hardware, so if it's not running smoothly, it might just be that it's just catching on that, so just manoeuvre that out of the way. And then we're going to turn it through. You could do this with PU. If you did want to do this with just a cotton outer, then yes, Starville, perfectly fine. But if you've already got that texture from your cork, then you're not really going to need it. So getting into those corners, easing those out. And then how you want to finish it up is then up to you. So I use the top of the cork. That's why I'm really careful to make sure that when I sew around that last time, that my seam is nice and equal from the cork side, because then if I want to, I can use that as a guide and give almost a faux binding around there. And I really like that finish. That is my finished look of choice, if I'm honest. Okay. And so you can then see how you finish it off then is up to you. So you can either, let me show you. You can either leave that at the top there, and I just give it a little press and then stitch in that ditch all the way around, okay? Or you can put that seam on the top. And stitch that neatly in there, so the lining is only seen as the lining. But if you want to have that little pop of contrast, so there you go, there it is with, and there it is, put that over, without. So with or without, it's entirely up to you. I quite like having that little pop of lining just to give it just a tiny detail. And then top stitch around the top. And then pop your swivel clips on. Binding bit there, and there you have it. One messenger bag with or without bound detail around the top, with a pocket that flips open completely at the back. Sew up your turning through gap. If you wanted to add a little pocket to the lining, then you absolutely can. But just, I would top stitch around that lining just to keep that really securely in place. And then you've got that large detail there. And away you go. There you go, right. Gosh, that was epic. But we get there in the end. I mean, just to be able to give you a full demonstration. Oh, there's one of my clips. That's why it wasn't going back on properly. You know, is a privilege that we have, because we're not, it's not like when we're on national TV and we're bound to just an hour's show by Ofcom. We can take that little bit of extra time. So I hope you bear with me. 20 past 12, goodness. Thank you ever so much for your company. Grab yourself this new cork. It's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And get sewing with it. We've got so many different things now that we've made with the cork, and then things that you've got left over. I did the other day, I think I showed you my eco tablet stand with a cork base bottom in a contrast. So that's going to take a 10-inch square there and a 2.5-inch strip for there, and a 10-inch square of cork, which if you've got left over is absolutely perfect. That's no bother at all. So just enjoy, yeah. Customise it, make it however you want. But there it is. That is your messenger bag. Next week, we've got all sorts of goodies for you. So check out your newsletter. Half Meet Heavens, I might add a few more in, but otherwise you've seen them from today. What else? Friday deals. You've got to check out your Friday deals. And yeah, if you are in the market for a brand new sewing machine, please do check out the incredible deals that we've got with our brand new Jukis loaded now on the website. Whether they are there still when it comes to Gary arriving, who knows. But I give you the heads up for them now. So have a little think, but I cannot recommend these machines more highly. I absolutely adore them. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.